Hello, everybody. I'm Sandesh. We're starting today something really, really cool, something really, really new, and I'm so excited to do this. We're starting the podcast called Kundalini Awakening from Karma to Dharma. My name is Sandesh again. I'm the happiness officer here at the Kundalini Yoga Club. And with me for the very first guest for this new project, this new podcast, is Guru Gian, the founder of the Kundalini Yoga Club. So I would like to ask Guru Gian to maybe tell something about himself, how he came to the club, before we dive more into the podcast itself.
Well, how I find my name is Guru Gian, and my normal name is Jasper. I listen to both, but the Guru Gian is my spiritual name. And I founded the Kundalini Yoga Club. I think because Kundalini has always played a very important role in my life. First of all, I mean, I had my Kundalini experiences. And then in my close environment, my brother had a spontaneous Kundalini experience. And that was a lot of trouble. So that was quite intense. So then I went on a journey myself, a yogic journey with Kundalini Yoga. So I've seen Kundalini from so many different angles, spontaneous, gradual, that I I really feel I have something to say and to share about it, because I know it's so important that knowledge about this phenomenon goes outside. And so, I've already been teaching for 16 years Kundalini Yoga, and I always kept it small, especially the first 10 years. And now the last 5 to 7 years, I really started to have my coming out, and I started the Kundalini Yoga Club in the Netherlands, I think already almost 5 or 6 years ago. And also like 2 years ago, a small international community that's now also growing. So my purpose is really to share knowledge, to share best practices, and also to give people a community of like-minded people that are also working with the Kundalini energy. So that was my purpose for starting this. And I'm also very excited, and I'm very grateful that you're taking this job of holding the space for this Kundalini Awakening podcast. So yeah, I'm super excited, and also grateful, and I hope the spirit will guide us in a very fruitful podcast, and that will serve a lot of people, and share this knowledge and wisdom with a lot of other people that might be in a spontaneous Kundalini awakening, because I think nowadays a lot of people are having some kind of awakening without knowing they have an awakening. And that's really scary if you are in an awakening without knowing it. So I think getting this phenomena more out in the world, because there's also a lot of scary stories, but we probably talk about it later. So really get a balanced, integrative knowledge out of experience. I will absolutely not say that I have all the knowledge, because there are a lot of different experience, a lot of different traditions, but I believe I can contribute to the totality of it.
Yes, and I'm so happy that I'm the one being allowed to ask you these questions, because you've taught me that from the numerology. My part is so I'm Sandesh, very short, but I had a dream, a wish. Maybe that was part of my Kundalini awakening, but I was searching for healing. My life was blocked, and I was looking for a platform where I could find stories, where I could see how we could get out of the normal system, that which, to my opinion, doesn't really work, but that would really help. And 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 now I think it's about 14 years later, I'm part of the Kundalini Yoga Club, and we're sharing the stories, the experience. And I'm also super excited about that. So let's dive into that. Let's start with the title. We sat and we thought, what's the title going to be? What is the title that people would be attracted to? And the title has become Kundalini Awakening, from Karma to Dharma. and these are related concepts. So I want to ask you first, just dive into what is Kundalini and what happens when the Kundalini awakens, in your opinion.
Yes, because and this is a very interesting topic for me. To make it simple, Kundalini is the energy of consciousness. Kundalini for me is the energy of consciousness. So what you experience the most is an expansion in consciousness. For example, I practice Kundalini yoga, and we call this the yoga of awareness. As more energy is released, chakras open more, your perceptions start to change. And so you start to see more, you start to feel more, and you become especially aware of the so-called spiritual realm. And you get like an extreme interest in spirituality and spiritual practices. You might even go become a Buddhist or a yogi or a Tibetan or a Christian. You go to a monastery, and this is part of the Kundalini awakening. So it's a spiritual awakening. You start to realize there is more in life. There's more than only my limited self.
So when
So
did you experience that question for yourself? Like, there's more to life.
what? There's
When
more.
did you experience that moment?
Well, I remember when I was a child, I already had this experiences where I was so awake, and I was looking at life and thinking, what is this? What is this kind of life? And thinking about the meaning of life and so on. Already when I was very young, and feeling a very strong ethical something in me, which I could not really relate to, and I was not growing up in an environment where there was any space for these kind of feelings, and so I was kind of a little bit inside myself. And Kundalini, it's funny, yeah, because I think a lot of people get their first Kundalini awakening through, or partly Kundalini awakening, or some more conscious expansion through uh, some kind of plant medicine. Nowadays, you see that a lot. But when I was doing my PhD, I was doing my PhD in university. I was already interested in meditation, and was reading a lot of philosophy, studying neuroscience and all that stuff. So I was already really interested. And then, of course, how it goes in life, if you are really interested. I got a girlfriend, a girlfriend at that age, and that was, ooh, this is almost 22, 23 years ago. I had a girlfriend, and she was working in the Netherlands, because we have that in the Netherlands. She was working in a smart shop where they were importing all kind of interesting tropical natural substances. That
For the
we
people who don't know what a smart shop is,
oh,
maybe
yeah,
you can
very
tell
good.
that because this is an international public. This is very cultural, I
Yeah,
guess.
well, in
What
the
is a
Netherlands, we
smart
have
shop?
Marcho, where they basically they sell psychoactive materials like mushrooms, or even like they used to also, I think, sell ayahuasca like things. And so we were really interested, and so we did some trips together. And so she got me introduced to having a right setting, and so it was not for party, but really like a psychonautic experiencing the other realities. And I was a researcher at the time, so I was interested because I want to know, I want to experience. And then one day, when she was not there, I decided to go all in. So I, so I took a, so I took a very high dose in which I had a full Kundalini awakening, retrospective. At that moment, I had no idea what was happening. I was going through all the bardos. I can still see them later on. I discovered all the things in the books. I saw the crown chakra, the light, I had all the experiences, the inner sounds, the anahats, full blown. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And non-dual experiences, the spirit and me, God and me are one. All the things we chant later on, there it was already done. And then I wanted to do it again because I think, wow, this is really amazing. And then I got this very strong message from the other realm: find a master, stop this and find a master. And then I thought, okay, that was, so I just maybe did it for a few months, that psychoactive period. But that got me, I started to read everything about the awakening stuff, and I was into Buddhism at that time. And then I started to practice Kundalini yoga. And then later on, there I found a master, Yogi Bhajan, through the videos. And later on, I got more connected to the 10 gurus, but now we're getting already complicated. But that was my first Kundalini experience. And that has proven to be very important because that opened up all my channels, my psychic things. But it also showed me this is not the way. Because the whole problem with only doing that is that you're not working on your character as a human being. And so a lot of people, and it's good as a start to have an experience, but then the journey starts. You have to become a student.
So that let me jump into, because now you're actually addressing the point of karma and dharma, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole path what we come to do, right? So tell us, why is Kundalini so related to the understanding of the path from karma to dharma?
Yeah, very good. I think this is the essential question, because what Kundalini does, it's awareness. So it will make you aware of a lot of unconscious stuff, and karma is unconscious. It's burden. I got back problems from when I was 11 years old. And so there was a lot of karma, repressed emotion in family lines, and a lot of stuff. And you become, through this awakening, you become aware of it, and then you have to start working on yourself. I mean, there is a famous book by, I think it's a Buddhist teacher called Jack Cornfield. I think I read it also 20 years ago. After the ecstasy, the laundry. So you get this experience like, wow, you start to understand the whole cosmic reality. It doesn't matter, it's not important. Okay, it's great. But then the real work starts, working on yourself. And this is where the whole Kundalini awakening is about. It's becoming, yeah, this is cliche, but becoming the best version of yourself. And it means to work on your karma, work through the traumas, work through the blocks, which is not an easy process. And this is where you need Sangat, Guru, Dharma, right? You need Dharma, you need guidance. You need Sangat, you need people around you that say, okay, now you're going too far out, or stay grounded. And you need Guru, you need higher consciousness to support you. Because it is a very tricky area when you work through your karma.
So can I just, because this is very spiritual talk, and I want to
Yeah,
help
no,
the people who might not have this spiritual background. So karma, if I understand it well, is the unconscious life that we live, that we live through learning everything that we learned from childhood from our parents, and our parents learned it from our grandparents, and so our ancestors told us how to live, or even told us how to survive. It doesn't matter, but how to live the life. It's like a operating system in a computer. You have an operating system given to you, and you were not conscious that you could change this operating system, right? So for the Windows people, Windows 95 was the very first one, I guess, or 3.11. But now we had Windows 11. So the upgrade of the ability to upgrade your consciousness, to get out of unconsciousness to consciousness, to upgrade your operating system all the time. Is that the path of dharma?
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, karma, well, maybe it's better to say karma is a virus, because it will bring you down. It's not functional. In terms of dharma, is the natural flow of your energy. It's who you really are. But karma is what you force yourself, what life force you to be. So unnatural. Dharma is very natural, very light, with a lot of joy. This is Dharma. It's what you who you are. Not, but it's good. I mean, because you have to start in life with who you not are. You have to learn your lessons because you say parents, grandparents. I think also previous lives are very important. And you need to learn your lessons. And once you learn your lessons and you work through this, you can use that energy to live your dharma.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And dharma is always for the greater good.
Yes, yes.
Dharma is always
Yeah,
for the greater good.
brings me back to the word yoga. When I first learned what is yoga, yoga is the practice to connect yourself with the unlimitedness. And later I got to understand, oh, the unlimitedness is the set of limiting thoughts that I had from previous life or ancestry, karma, limiting thoughts.
Yeah.
Why? Because you need to protect yourself. You cannot embrace everybody. You cannot go everywhere. You cannot say everything. Um, and then through my own path of yoga, I went, oh, so yoga is helping me to understand these limiting thoughts, these patterns, and giving me a consciousness to step over it, to understand that I'm actually part of unlimitedness, which is that area of Dharma. Because when things are unlimited, life is pretty light. I mean, I understand completely what you're saying. It is I like you ride the biggest wave behind you, and it's sometimes so easy to live because you just flow it. So yeah, so that's why we've done the title, Kundalini Awakening, from karma to dharma, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And there's just a gazillion questions, of course, that we can talk about this. I know we could do this all day, but I'm going to do my best to guide us in this experience and bring it to a meaningful conversation. We have some standard questions mixed with questions from our Kundalini Yoga Club. We got like 9,000 or almost 10,000 people on our email list. And so we picked some of the really nicest questions. So with that said, let's go into some of the questions, right? Can you describe your understanding of your karma?
Can I just my understanding of my karma?
Yeah, you became conscious that you had a karma. What is that? What was that?
Well, I mean, for well, a big part for me also, if I look at my own numerology, but for me, it was all about opening my heart and not living in my head, not protecting myself, just being on my own, protecting myself. No, but being my journey was really to open my heart and to always come from my heart, to connect with people, to reach out to people. This is really my karma. And the funny thing is I reach out so much, I share so much, but I always tell to people I was absolutely not like that. I was extremely shy. I always try to avoid other people, and now I'm still opening up. I'm opening up more and more. So for me, it's all about my karma is from the head to the heart. And that's also I did my PhD was very much in the head, and now I'm living a yogic lifestyle and sharing these teachings that are all about developing the heart chakra, right? So, yeah, I think that's I believe my karma. Yours? What is yours?
Oh, that's a very good question. If I have to say it, I need to understand that I'm valuable enough to be loved.
Yeah.
I really come from a very challenging past. It's not about me. I think we'd have another podcast about me later, but I had to really overcome many challenges, understanding that I've I'm valuable and I always have the right to be loved, and I'm always good enough.
Mm.
So overcoming these convictions
Mm.
has been my karma, and I believe being part of the club is part of my path going through it, and being on my dharma, sharing the light, sharing, telling people hey, you can open your heart. You're worthy of it. You're worthy of attention. You're worthy of love. You're worthy of your truth. That's why I'm part of the club.
Yeah, and isn't it interesting that uh, what we need the most for ourselves, we're giving the world it. Because in the end, from a non-dual perspective, there is no difference between me and the outer reality that I'm seeing and that I'm creating. So as I am living my mission and doing my stuff, I'm working on myself, right? So that this is so interesting. We all tend to do what we need ourselves the most. And I think that's also a good sign from karma to dharma. Yeah.
And so you understood you had, was that during your Kundalini path that you, because you just said you had an awakening and you understood you needed a master. So how did you find a way to understand and work with Kundalini? Um,
Yeah, let me straighten things out. For me, my real Kundalini path came afterwards, where I really started to practice the yoga, Kundalini yoga, going into the yogic teachings in the mantras. I start to get a connection with the divine, not just some far out experience. Um, and I later on, I first was looking for masters in masters. So I had a lot of teachers that were masters or had some level of mastery. But later on, I understand there is only one master, which is the universe, right? So I had to develop this conscious relationship with the universe. It sounds vague, but this is really something all the people who've gone through some deep spiritual awakening and Kundalini awakening have this feeling that they are in direct communion with the divine or with God or whatever they call. So you actually don't need a master. I think that a lot of things go wrong when you focus on the master, although you need them in the beginning. It's full of paradox, the whole the whole journey of awakening. It's full of paradox. You need it and you don't need it. Because if you focus too much on the master, you're not focusing on the master in yourself. So,
yeah, my understanding of that part of it, I recognize very much what you say. First, you think the master's outside of you. But I think a real master is there to help you understand that you have the master inside of you and that you need to understand how to tune into the master inside of you. And then the job of the master is done. And then I think a good master will let the
it's,
awakening happen, But
yeah, but it's tricky.
yeah, it's
Uh,
very tricky. You're right.
it's tricky because often we do not really understand the job of the master. Why you need the master is that the master as a person, a real one, has this connection to this subtle realm. And by tuning in to your master, you're tuning into his subtle connection. And you need the subtle connection of the master. So it's a kind of, but it's delicate. So you need it and you don't need it. So I always try to be in the presence of of masters as often as I can. So don't get me wrong, because it helps. Because but you, but we create it also. I mean, when you come together with a group of yogis, let we do at a festival or in a training, there the guru comes. The guru not in the personality of the master, but the guru in the field of energy. And so you can create the guru, the teacher yourself. And this is what I find so fascinating, especially in this age, where I really believe that we should focus on that guru, which lives in the community, right? Okay.
Yeah, isn't that fascinating that the teachers all around us. It's not one teacher. It's in every moment. It's in every challenge. we can find a teacher, right? So did you, after practicing Kundalini yoga, have a more profound Kundalini awakening or more structured way to
Absolutely,
deal with
absolutely.
your Kundalini? So from
Yeah,
this
because
one
what happened?
epic moment, how did your relationship to Kundalini develop?
Yeah. So because that is just an awakening and then it slowly comes down. You need a lot of time to integrate it, but it's not something really sustainable. And in my daily practice, over time it has become sustainable. So the energy always goes up, but I still do it every day because when I sit in the morning, I do my recitations, I do my practice, do my meditations, I feel the energy rise and I'm like, I'm ready for the day. So it's something because you start now, it's conscious. So I have a conscious relationship with my Kundalini energy. Then the Kundalini energy is just some force taking over. Now there is an intimate connection. And I think this now the path I've been walking is a gradual awakening, which is very beautiful. And because I've seen also in my practice a lot of people with spontaneous Kundalini awakening, they have a lot of problems integrating the experience. But the people who have done a gradual awakening, they are very happy, generous, prosperous human beings. So there are really two paths. So I'm very happy that I found, and in the beginning, you get like experiences, but after a while, it's all about consciousness and about the heart, compassion, and service.
Yeah, so let me there's two questions from our community that very relate to this subject. So let's focus on this danger or this spontaneous or too many spontaneous awakening. I don't know how you would say that. So Tessa, she said she would love to hear more about why people think this is so dangerous, or they tell you stay away from it, or it's even like diabolical. Like where's this duality coming from, right? We think it's such a great thing, but there's another side that says stay away from it. Could you tell more about how you think of the concept of it's dangerous and it's
Yeah, well,
diabolical?
I mean, it is dangerous to the ego, and it's dangerous to society because you start to see through all the lies and all the nonsense. So in that sense, it is dangerous. Plus, it can, of course, let's be honest about it, it is destabilizing in a way, and that's good because you were in karma, you are in illusion, you are in the matrix, you are in whatever. And so you need to be destabilized. But of course, that can feel like, whoa, oh my God, my reality, what I believed in, turns out to be false, based on lies, and that is an awakening, and you need time to process that. It is not easy to deal with that realization.
So in a way, could I understand it by saying, hey, Kundalini is powerful, but be careful. You need to be ready and know what uh, you could be expecting, because you're saying is Kundalini is actually making you conscious of the unconscious choices you made in life, the unconscious relationships you made in life. And by awakening that consciousness, you have to go through a path of breaking or adjusting these unconscious relationships. And that's terrifying, you know? Many
But
relationships broke, whether it's business, private, but it broke, right? We know that both of us. So I can really relate to, hey, if you want to awaken and become more conscious in your life, be aware that you have to clean up, do the laundry of the unconscious relationships.
yes, so that's one part of it. The second part of this is energetically speaking. This is why we advocate a gradual awakening where you gently, with yoga, meditation, diets, you cleanse yourself. So the energy, so you, slowly, some unconscious stuff comes up, and the energy start to move freely, and your consciousness grows. But if you're unprepared, for example, people that have a near death experience or they do some very intense thing, their Kundalini, it gets a burst of energy and it stays in the higher chakra, you can feel very destabilized. You can get all kind of psychic experiences which you're not ready for, also because you don't have the knowledge, the experience, and that's why people think it's dangerous. But that's not how it is with practicing yoga. If it would be that easy, we if you are a practitioner, you know how challenging and how not easy it is, how difficult it is to raise the Kundalini. Right? It takes a lot of dedication and discipline.
This relates me to a question from Martin. He said he read once that if you practice Kundalini as thought by Yogi Bhajan daily, then it takes about 12 years for the Kundalini energy to fully ascend, to rise. What are your looks on that? And when you see that about your own Kundalini awakening, has it fully ascended, or are you still feeling more and more energy?
Yeah, absolutely. No, there is something there is something interesting with these 12 years, because there is some truth in it. If I relate to my own now 16, 17 years of daily practice, there is a time where you feel like, yeah, okay, it feels stable now. But it's not finished. I at least not for myself, and I think for a lot of people it is not finished. um, because and that's the beauty of it, right? Because it's infinite, and you start to, oh my god, start to have another reality, another perception, more refined, more spiritual powers basically coming towards you, like, oh my god, this is also possible. Or so it is developing and developing and developing. I mean, there is one good example. And for me, this is, if you have like a called in yogi, we call Jal Samadhi, like a very big Samadhi, like one of our gurus 500-600 years ago in our tradition had Guru Nanak, where you go underwater and meditate for 3 days, where because it takes 3 days for the mind to dissolve fully, right? 3 days in this deep samadhi until all the unconscious material, then,
What's the samadhi?
well, that's a complete oneness with the universe, with the universal consciousness. And so there is completely non-duality. There is no you and other. It's only oneness. But this is a very, very, very advanced yogic state. So I will absolutely not plan. No, and I'm absolutely 100% a practitioner, a student who experiencing Kundalini awakening. But thank God I'm not finished.
Enjoying the journey, I hear.
Yeah, and well, really, it's about it, because the journey itself is, I like, wow. I mean, we have this mantra in our yoga. It's called Waheguru. And in the beginning, I didn't really understand why Guru, why Guru. They always say why Guru, why Guru. Like, why? Why do they always say why Guru? And now I say,
Sounds like groupies, right? When you don't really understand what it means.
why
Like,
Guru means wow.
yeah.
And like often, like during the day or in my meditation, like, wow. Man, in life, when magic happens, like, wow. I mean, I'm enjoying the journey. It doesn't have to stop. I
Yeah.
think all the people, yeah, I want to go get enlightenment and then it stop. I think, oh, are you crazy? You're not enjoying the ride, right? It's something to enjoy.
Yeah. You cannot develop consciousness overnight. We
No,
need to
absolutely.
repeat, 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 and that's the journey, I guess. So now you're on this, you've reached a level of stability of your Kundalini, right? And
Dangerous thought, because
yeah, that's the real start, right? That you can access the power, access the energy, and know its limits or how you can wield this energy. So is that related to your dharma then? Are you using it on your path to live to share it with life? Is that the stage where you're now?
Well, also here, I would not say that. Yes, on the one hand, I've reached a kind of stability, understanding of the process. I feel my energy. I know what works. I know what doesn't work. But then sometimes I do something which is beyond my limits, and then I still feel that Kundalini effect. Oh my God, I have now another threshold, and which I need to integrate and stabilize myself in. So it's never gone, but I feel I have this for me how it feels. I feel I'm connected to myself, and when I listen very carefully myself, I hear my next step. And for me, I'm just a servant of the divine, right? I felt it already a long time ago. I'm serving, and sometimes I'm self-serving. I mean, I'm a human being, but I know what I do. I have to do, and when I feel something comes up, I need to do. I do it. I trust the universe has my back, and things will work out the way it
You
should
put your
work out.
head away and just follow the heart, which is I think is brave because I can feel it. I can feel I have to do it, but there's a lot of time the head's gonna tell you all kinds of reasons why not, right? That's the process of getting the consciousness that you know, no, it's just a thought that you have. It doesn't mean it's a truth. Go for the experience, right?
Yeah,
So you got all this energy. It still sometimes brings you out of balance, and then and I think all this energy in manifesting the Kundalini Yoga Club, we're starting to relaunch the international club this year. That's why this podcast is there, right? And so Tessa, oh
yeah.
no, I think it's Petra. No, Petra this time. Petra says, Guru Gyan, I have been following you for I think over 2 years now. And I admire your perseverance and how you have established this online community with beautiful people and giving classes and this and that and you just go on. So especially this question to you is like where do you get the energy to be able to be allowed to do this? You have a lot of things to do, but you also think that you are allowed to do this. Well, that means
But
that you have no port, that you are allowed, that you somehow support yourself to do it. You know, it's like, I can do it.
yeah, I mean, there are no limits. And but I always have people think in mind that I'm already on this journey quite a long time. And in the first 7 years, the only thing I did was doing the practice for 3 to 4 hours a day and hardly doing anything next to it, just giving a few classes. I was very contained. Now I'm in this phase where I'm expanding and it just comes. It just comes. And I have a good team, of course, but it just comes. And I have this very strong, it's also because of the Kundalini, let's be honest. I have a very strong projection. So when I want something to manifest, I put that energy behind it and then it will manifest, of course, way faster. I mean, manifestation, I mean, this is absolutely one of the aspects of Kundalini. Manifestation goes 10 times easier when you have all this force behind it because there's a lot of magnetic power behind it. So it attracts the right people, resources, ideas towards you to manifest, to do that kind of effortlessly, right?
Is
Because
that
it's
that dharmic wave that you feel behind you? It's like when you're
absolutely,
riding a wave on a surf and you just
absolutely
feel
the
the surf.
dharmic way. Yeah, that's the energy, that's the flow. The flow of
Yeah.
the Kundalini, it's a flow. And if you just follow it and trust it,
Yeah,
and
I want to tell a story
yeah,
about this. I had a while ago. I also had my I think it was 2017. My own Kundalini awakening. I felt that oneness so strong, which was also because of truffles. So that was that one moment. But after that, I felt so the trust of this power that's supporting me. So I was. In Kiev, and I was picked up by my friend, my driver. He brought me back to his apartment because I was late, and he said, "Well, we have to walk far because there's no parking place." And I said, "Just drive to your entrance of your building." It's impossible. There's no parking places here, and I just had this pure conviction. I knew there would be a parking place. I said, "Just drive." And he drove, to the gate. There's this big apartment building, and it's very little parking place. And just in front of the parking place, there was a parking place, and he was flabbergasted. He says, "I've been living here for years. It could never happen." I said, "But I just felt it would happen, and it would happen." And Yogi Bhajan, or it said, like, I don't. What did he
I
say
don't
about
believe in
miracles?
miracles. I rely on miracles.
Exactly. I think when you are on your dharma, you're not questioning if there's a miracle. You know that they are there and they will be there when you need them. And that's when you have this projection power. It's just gonna happen. You want it to happen, it's gonna happen because it was given to you by divine or infinite inspiration. So something behind you is telling you it has to be done now. So just go and do it.
Yeah, as long as it's dharmic, I mean, if someone
Yeah.
would say, okay, just prove, do now 10 times, it doesn't work like that, because life is in a flow, your flow. It's not meant to be that's distrusting the flow,
Yeah.
right? This is why it's also very difficult to, I think, to scientifically research paranormal activity, right? Because you're trying to do something which should happen naturally spontaneous and not artificial. But I think it's possible. But at least the miracles we are creating daily, they're kind of unconscious. They're conscious, unconscious. Right? We have not complete mastery that we do like this, and then we can materialize something, which yogic theory says we could do. So there is always something to progress. But that's a great example, I think. And this has to do with spiritual awakening, Kundalini awakening. You have these magic moments all the time, and these miracles, and you're loving it. You want to live that life. That is this. Yeah. You feel there's a different reality that you would like to access. Yeah.
But does it come with a cost? What did you have to let to go from your karma to your dharma?
Oh, absolutely. There's a huge cost, and the cost is comfort. I mean, ah, every time the Kundalini is telling me to challenge myself. There's not the easy way. Just no. There's always the moving forward, facing the fears, overcoming the obstacles. The energy moves forward, but you always there's the energy behind your back, but then there's you bumping to the new challenges. So you're sacrificing a lot of ego pleasures, laziness, comfort. You get different comforts back for it, of course. You get a lot of joy and effortless, but there's also absolutely sacrifice. I think people should be aware of it. There's a lot of
That's
sacrifice.
related to the concept of Maya,
What do you mean?
emotional attachments to the world, um, like greed. You need to you cannot hold things. It's not only about you anymore, right? When you're on the dharmic path, it's all about sharing, keeping not. I mean, keeping enough for yourself, but much more than sharing. It's not about accumulating wealth anymore. It's not about uh, uh, finding relational love and only how to say um, because I've been reading the some of the text of the how do you call them again? The
Yoga
hukams,
Sutra?
the hukams. They say when you are on the path, you need to get away from Maya, the uh,
Yeah, illusion.
the illusion, the
The
desires of life, the emotional attachments, the what the ego can attach itself to. This is me, Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yes. Yeah. Well, you have that is also a very tricky subject, which I've changed my mind over, and I think we all should do. We have to change the mind a lot of times. As our consciousness grows, we start to see things differently. So on the one hand, especially in the beginning, you have to give up a lot because that helps to activate the Kundalini. But then you also need to take care of yourself and it is okay to enjoy yourself and to give yourself that what you need, because that's from the first three chakras, and you actually need it to have a balanced life. So it depends on where you are in the journey, how much you can desire, and but you will feel best if you serve. But if you're not feeding yourself, you get a disbalance. I've seen it so many times in myself and other people. It's not that clear one-on-one, I would say.
So if I understand it right, it's not about relinquishing everything in material life. It's about finding a balance of what you need and not allowing that to be taking over your life. That you're
Exactly.
conscious when you're consuming, that you're conscious when you're enjoying and giving
Yeah.
yourself some need, but
Yeah.
not serving that need, but you're serving others.
Yeah, don't become addicted, because then it has you. As long as you master over it, you can have everything. You can do anything you want, as long as it doesn't have you. And this is
Mm.
very difficult. I mean, we all know, especially just think about your mobile phone. It often has us instead we having it. So then it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Who's the
Same with,
master, your phone or you, right? Who's the
yeah,
master, your phone or you? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I think it's about that. It's all about mastery. It's all about mastery, not about you cannot do, because that's all duality. Uh, you can do anything. Also with diet, you can eat meat, you can do anything. But in the beginning, it is not. It's better to be on a vegetarian diet. I think it's always better to be on a vegetarian diet. But if you feel you need it, take it. That's what I also sometimes do. You have to become, after a while, you have to become real. And there are no rules anymore after a while. There's only you and your connection and your perception of reality, and then adjusting your way of life according to it.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
Thank you. And let's talk about Bill. This is Dharma. Dharma is sharing. What are you sharing? What have you achieved? And what do you want to achieve more? Tell us about, uh, you know, yeah, what it
you
has
mean
brought.
what is my, well, I mean, for me it's really sharing this practice of Kundalini yoga. This feels like my dharma, and also for me it's giving it in a way that is non-dogmatic, so opening it up. I mean, in our Kundalini yoga tradition, there was a lot of dogma. So now my dharma feels to help break down these barriers, so that it can flow freely. I'm connecting deeper to the source of the yogic teachings and sharing that authentic connection with students. Yeah, for me, it's about. I've always felt like, for me, it's creating spaces where people come together to practice yoga together. That's my dharma, and there's also something selfish in it, because I like to be with yogis around me. So I'm happy. I create these trainings and retreats. I always make sure that I have a live musician, that we can practice together, that we can eat together. I'm the happiest person. Huh? So, and then I know it's
You
good.
got me hooked.
Well, I mean, I
I
think we
understand.
need to hook ourselves to that
Yeah,
lifestyle, because
yeah.
it is so healthy.
Yeah, I can really share a short story about that. I had 2 weeks of holiday. One week was with yogis. The other week was a very good friend of mine, but we went out, partied, ate, drank, everything. And these 2 weeks were consecutively.
Mm.
So these were, and I came back home. The first week we was in Chateau Anand. I think it was Anand. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, Chateau Anand. And we really just ate together in the morning, vegetarian. We worked all day on Chateau Anand repairing it, and then we did yoga and ate in the evening. It was so blissful just to be in this community of light. And I remember really coming back from this holiday, I realized I've been making the wrong choice. And that's when I enrolled into Kundalini yoga training for teacher, because I was got in touch with the teachers in the first week. I was like, wow. So God,
beautiful story. Beautiful story.
yeah, it was such a big a
Yeah, the
difference. It was
contrast.
like day and night for me. It was day and night. It's day and night. Okay, so let's talk about this concept of getting hooked because I think it's very important. Can you get hooked to the Kundalini awakening? Because there's all kinds of things happening around the Kundalini awakening process, leap, cast, energy. Ilse comes with all these words, and she said, like mushrooms, all these initiatives sprout from the ground, like telling you they'll bring you to the universe in no time. Is it hype? Or can we look at this from a more non-dualistic perspective and not condescend anything?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not for me to judge. I mean, I think it's a sign of the times that it's awakening, and it can be helpful in the beginning of the path, and so that I think that's helpful. Um, but I think we need to do the laundry. Other, this is not a popular message, you know, and this is why these other processes, I don't know, and I cannot even say this to be honest, but I can imagine that it's very attractive. Eh? You don't have to do anything. The same with drinking. Well, ayahuasca, you have to puke and all this stuff. But so you're with a cap, you're activating the Kundalini. Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's a kind of a kriya without you doing something for it. But I think it is also a little bit sign of the times, yeah? Because we want to have everything there right now. Uh, for
The quick
me,
way, the quick
the
way.
quick way, the quick way, and I don't believe in the quick way. I think just the building of our character to the discipline and the devotion is so beautiful. I mean, maybe I should try it out, all the other things, and then I can really say something about it. But I
Well, for
think
me, when we talk about this, is mastery doesn't come quick.
exactly, exactly, exactly. Well, I think you're hitting the the hammer on the nail. I think mastery is about doing the work, and because through that you really start to understand the process.
Yeah. And that's
And
what we do in the club, right? We help people with our challenges to do the work.
absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
it will feel so good because you learn to do the sacrifice. You learn to wake up early, for example, instead of staying in bed, and that has all kind of benefits for the rest of your life. You know, you don't want to miss that out. Uh,
Oh, that's why I realized in those 2 weeks. It was early morning sadhana at 5 o'clock. We were sitting doing the Japji Sahib and the Kriyas, and I was like, "What the heck is this?" You know, I had a small born. My wife was there. I was taking care of everything that day, but I felt so good the rest of the day. It was incredible. And then the second week, we were sleeping longer, we were drinking, we were eating. And it was exhausting.
yeah.
Yeah. So okay. We've gone quite long. So I want to try and wrap this up. There's some Dirk has questions about. Let's talk to people because people come to listen to this podcast. Probably the title has attracted them. There's a lot of information here, but what are the first steps? What would you tell people who experience a great spiritual hunger and what should they do once they understand this? And how should they be aware of risks?
Yeah, well, I think the great spiritual hunger exists. I mean, because of a partial Kundalini awakening, because the Kundalini awakening creates this hunger. So, because the spirit in you wants to feed itself, because it wants nourishment. And a lot of people, the spirit has dried up. They has not been fed. There was no church going, anything. So there was no feed for the spirit. So no food for the spirit. So they are hungry. I think we experience themselves. Well, I think, yeah, because you're hungry, you want to experience a lot, which you might get trapped in getting the quick fixes, which are not there. So I would always look for a genuine path, like a tradition, a Tibetan, a Buddhist, or like the Kundalini Yoga is based on the 10 gurus. the yogic tradition. It is a tradition which has a lot of resources, a lot of dharmic resources, a lot of guru consciousness that you can feed yourself on to balance yourself out, a lot of practices, a lot of sangat, a lot of gatherings together where you can grow in consciousness together, because don't try to do this journey on your own.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's danger. I think there's the danger, because you will not go into the jungle, right, in the Amazon forest on your own.
Yeah.
You would go in a guided group with a clear map. So make sure you have the map, make sure you have a good guide, and make sure you're not going by yourself.
Mm.
I think that's so important in the journey.
Mm. Yes. So it's a description of these times. People understand that with all these experiences they have out of themselves, the inner need grows and becomes more hungry. And I guess that's why we're doing this podcast also, to inspire, to give into that need. And what you're saying is just it's good to experience the possibilities of unlimitedness out there. There's
Yeah.
definitely quick fixes, but they haven't withstood the time. And what you're saying is if you want to really work on this in a durable way, find a system that has withstood the time. It doesn't matter which system, but at least that can give you some foundation to support yourself on. And be careful for the quick fixes that are just maybe the last 5 years.
Yeah. And so for me, the three foundational pillars, which you find in any genuine system, is Guru, Sangat, Dharma. And we probably need to do another podcast
Yeah.
on the three pillars, but that can give some guidance for the people around that are just starting their journey. Okay, what I'm working on, is there Guru, Sangha, Dharma? Is there Guru, Sangha, Dharma? If there's one of these pillars, because they're related actually to the Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna Nadi in our bodies, so we need it.
Wow.
So I better
I'm
be
gonna
aware of it.
stop you there. If you want it, probably there will be a link somewhere to go to the next podcast, which we did not record yet, but it will be about Guru, Sangat, and Dharma.
And the Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna Nadi.
Yes. Well, with that, I wanna thank you very, very much. Shall we do a 3 times Satnam? That's our yogic practice, and I think we should do that because this was such truth experiencing, and I want to thank that with a 3 times Satnam. Okay, bring our hands together. Inhale. Sa na sa sa. No, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
See you next time. Bye bye.